So a monomial is just x, okay? It's the term of the form. K is a real number and n is a whole number. And n is called the degree, which is super important. And the degree of the term tells you what type of polynomial you're dealing with. K is called the coefficient. So the coefficient is whatever comes before the variable. Okay, polynomial is a monomial or the indicated sum or difference of monomials. The degree of polynomial is the largest of the degrees in its terms. So that's basically saying, okay, if I have 2x to the 5th power plus 7x to the 2nd power plus 8x to the 15th power, okay, you're going to pick the degree with the highest. Okay, the coefficient of the term of the largest degree is called the leading coefficient. So the leading coefficient in this situation would be 8. Okay, so we have special terminologies. And special terminologies are when dealing with monomials. And this is when only dealing with one term. So this is negative x to the 3rd power and 4a to the 5th power. So that only has one term. A binomial is a polynomial with two terms. Okay, so you have the 3x and 5, and then you have the a squared plus 3. And then a trinomial is with 3 terms. So you have the x squared, the 6x, the minus 7. And then you have a to the 3rd power, negative 8a to the 2nd power, and 12a. So you can see these are each terms. Okay, and even these up here look complicated, but it's only one term. It's not broken down because you can't combine the like terms. So if you can't combine it, you have to leave it. Alright, an example of simplifying polynomials is you combine like terms. So you're going to write the polynomial in descending order and state the degree and type of polynomial. So we are going to write it, okay, here's the coefficient. What we're going to do is we're going to add the coefficients, so it's 5 plus 7, and then the term or the degree would be x to the 3rd power, which is a 3rd degree monomial. Okay, that's because you can't combine any of these terms, so it's 3rd degree monomial. Okay, the next one, B. Okay, if you look here, what you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing. So 5, 7, and negative 2. Okay. The difference here is that you have 3 terms, but there's only 2 terms that you can combine. So these are the 2 terms that you can combine. So we already did that, and we did that up here. So the 2 terms that we can combine are going to end up with 12x to the third power. We can't combine this one because there's nothing that is alike to combine it with. And so the highest degree, because this one has a degree of 1, but we don't need to put that, the highest degree is 3, so it's still a third degree, right? But this time it's not a monomial because there's 2. It's called a binomial. Okay, moving on. We're going to look at this one. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. But there are some that we can combine. So we know we can combine these two. But we cannot combine these because they have different degrees. So when we combine these, the 1/3, not 1/3, 1/2 plus 3, okay, that's going to give us negative, sorry, I'm writing that wrong. It's going to give us 7/2. Because remember, we have to have common denominators. Then we have to make this a 6, and then 1 plus 6 is going to give you 7. So 7/2y. Okay, and then we get minus 2/3 y squared minus 7. Okay, so I wrote that incorrectly because you have to write them in descending order, and you have to write them by the degree. So the highest degree here is this one, so I should have wrote that first. So negative 2/3 y to the second plus 7/2y minus 7. So because this is your highest degree, you name it by the highest degree. The highest degree is a 2, so it's second degree, and it's a 1, 2, 3, so it's a trinomial. So you would put second degree trinomial. Okay, trinomial because there's 3 terms, and then second degree because that identifies the exponent. Okay, so next one. Alright, our next example problem, x squared plus 8x minus 15 minus x squared. So we're going to pick out the ones that are alike, of course. So these are alike, right? And those are the only 2 that are alike. So obviously we're going to take those, and we're going to look at those and see when you combine them what happens. Okay, sometimes you'll combine like terms and then they just disappear because they cancel out each other. And that's what happens in this case. So those go away, and then you're left with 8x minus 15, and because the highest degree is a 1, it's going to be a first degree, but it's going to be a binomial because there's 2. So binomial. Okay, the same thing for the next one. We're going to look at them and say, okay, we have exponent of 4, exponent of 2, exponent of negative 1. So when we're doing this solution, when you have a negative exponent in a polynomial, you can't do anything with it. So you just leave it. So you get to skip it. Leave it alone. Oops, went too far. Okay. So example 2 is evaluating a polynomial. When you evaluate something, that means that you're going to get an answer. Okay? A numeric answer. So we're going to plug this into each of these x's. So we're going to do 4 times 3 squared plus 5 times 3 minus 15. Okay, we're going to do the exponent first. So it's going to be 4 times 9. And then we're going to do 5 times 3, which is 15. And we have the minus 15. This becomes 36. Then you have plus 15, minus 15. Those 15s cancel out, and it just equals 36. Then you only have one term, so you don't have to classify it. Okay, next, we're doing the same thing. We're evaluating polynomials, so we're going to plug in the -2 for each of these. And so we're going to plug in -2 for every single place that there is a y. And I hope you guys are like writing this along with me. Okay, so -2 to the third power is -2 times -2 times -2, which is positive 4 times -2, which equals -8. So I have 5 times -8, and then I have -2 to the second power, which is going to give you 4. And then we have -3 times -2, which gives us positive 6. We have plus 8. Okay, when we combine these, we get a -40. And then when we combine all of these, okay, we get 10 plus, we get 18. And then we are left with -22. So we end up with an answer for that one. So it's basically just plugging in for the variable to find out what answer you're getting. Okay, here are some practice problems I want you to try. Number 1 is basically combining the like terms and state the degree and type of polynomial. And that's what you're doing for number 1 and number 2. Number 3 is when you're evaluating. So you're going to take this polynomial and you're going to plug in 3 and get an answer. Then you're going to plug in -1, and then you're going to get an answer. Okay. Then you're going to send me your answers, a picture of them on Remind, or you're going to email them to me. So depending on if you have the Remind 101 app, that's the easiest thing. If not, to get credit for this, then you need to email me here.